Folks, today we're going to be working on animating a simple little infographic. So let's see what we're creating. There you go, not much to it really. Quite simple, but there's a lot of little tricks involved in here. First, what's an infographic? Well, infographics are simple designs that seek to take complicated or boring information and present them in a way that is a little bit more palatable and interesting to look at. And typically they feature very simple vector graphics. The language is as dumbed down as possible, and often they feature steps or percentages and that sort of thing. And it's often features things like pie charts and bar graphs and things like that. So that's what we're going to kind of work on today is how to do this. And these things are extremely popular today. Every company is using them. If you go out on YouTube, there's tons of these things, tons of tutorials, by the way. If you would rather use one of these than one of mine, you are welcome to do that. But before we get started, we need to do some pre-work. We're going to go first to Window, Workspace, Default. And then again, Window, Workspace, Reset Default to Saved Layout. And that's going to put all the windows back in their right locations so that when I click on something, you'll know where it is. And the next thing we're going to do is Window, Extensions, Adobe Color Themes. Now, Adobe Color Themes are preset color schemes that have been created by other people. And there's tons of these in here. And if you struggle with color like I do, this is an easy way to go out and get very cool color schemes for your motion graphics. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to use one of these color themes. So the first thing I want you to do, we're going to take this window, we're going to put it over here in this set of little buttons. And the way we're going to do it, don't grab the white bar, but instead grab the bar right below it that says Adobe Color Themes and drag it over until you see a box in the middle of this square. That's going to ensure that it goes inside this area and becomes one of the buttons that's in here. And there's Adobe Color Themes. We're just going to drag it now to the very top. And then we'll pull this down a little bit. And what we want to do is go to the Explore tab and type in the word infographics 1. And that will bring the exact one that we want today to the top. Okay, now that we have this, let's go create a new comp. Here's the new comp icon right here. We're going to call this pie chart. And we need to make sure we choose the proper preset, which is the last HDTV preset in the little stack here, HDTV 1080 29.97. And let's set the length to 3 seconds. So just select that and type in 300. And everything looks good. We'll click OK. Now we're going to create a new solid. Layer, New Solid. And click on the color chip. And make sure that the little circle is all the way up in the upper left. You can tell it's correct if the brightness is set to 100 and the saturation is at 0. And just click OK. And then we're going to name this BG for background. And click OK. Now let's go ahead and lock this layer because we're not going to need it for a while and don't want to mess it up. And the next thing we're going to do is to go to the Shapes tool. That's in between the Pen tool and the Pan Behind tool. And we're going to click and hold on it until we see the Ellipse tool. That's the one we want. And what I want you to do is go and click on the word Fill over here. And click the button that is the red slash, which indicates none, no fill. And now we'll go to the stroke color, not the word stroke, but the little color chip for stroke. We'll click on that. And notice the eyedropper right here. Click on the eyedropper and drop it right on top of the first color in our color theme. And we'll click OK. Now I want you to set the stroke size to 240, 240, and hit enter. So come somewhere around the middle of the screen. It's hard to tell exactly where it is, but that's okay. We've got a trick for dealing with that. And let's click and start dragging. And what I want you to do is hold the Shift key and the Control or Command key if you're on a Mac, and that will drag it out from the center. The Control or Command key is what drags from the center. The Shift key constrains this circle to a perfect circle, so it's not a football. And just let go. Next thing I want you to do is in the timeline, you're going to see shape layer 1 and ellipse 1. I want you to twirl down ellipse 1 and ellipse path 1 and click on either one of these numbers for size. Now, you know by now that these numbers are constrained together. The numbers are for horizontal size and vertical size. So we have a perfect circle, same height as width, and that's the way we want it. Click on either one of the numbers, and we're going to type in the number 400 and hit enter. Okay, our circle is the right size, and now let's get this aligned on the screen perfectly. Click on the Align tab right here, and we're going to click on the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment. And what that's going to do is perfectly place this object in the center of the screen. Let's go ahead and name this layer. So click on top of the word shape layer and hit the Enter key, and let's call it pie chart. And hit enter. Now we have one more thing to do. We are going to go down to the add button here and we're going to click and add trim paths. There's trim paths right there. Trim paths is what is going to allow this pie chart to break up into pieces of the pie and animate in. So we're going to use the statistics 32%, 54%, and 14%. I would prefer that you go out and get your own statistics and do your own version of this. But again, we're going to start with 32% because we have to start with something. So what we're going to do is go into the timeline and twirl down on trim paths. And we are going to set the start setting to 68%. 68 is 100 minus 32. And we'll hit OK. And there we've got our segment of the pie. Now make sure your playhead is at the beginning of the timeline and click the stopwatch for start. Now let's go ahead and twirl this layer up. And you know what? While we're here, let's go ahead and rename this. Let's call this blue 32%. That's a better number, name. And now let's duplicate this layer. Control or Command D for duplicate. Let's go ahead and rename it. Yellow 54%. Hit the Enter key. And let's change the color now, and we'll go and click on the Adobe Color Themes button over here. Then we'll click on the stroke color and choose the eyedropper and click on top of the yellow color. We click OK. And now let's change this up. On the yellow layer, we're going to type UU, and that will show us everything that's been modified in here. And so what we're looking for is trim paths down here. Now we're going to have to change the start position to 46, which is 100 minus 54. 46% is what we're going to set that to. And now we don't see the next thing that we need, so we're going to have to twirl up trim paths and then twirl it back down again because we need to see the offset control. And we're going to set that to negative 115. We'll see how this works. I'm just going to drag it to the left so we can see the negative part happening there. And the right number is negative 115. I can't hit that, so I'm going to type it in. Negative 115. Okay, now you see how this is working. And so we'll twirl up this layer by pressing the U key and press it again. If you press the U key one time, it's going to show you anything that's animating, and if you press it again, it's just going to collapse everything. And we'll duplicate it. And let's rename this one. So hit the Enter key and type red 14% and hit OK. Enter. And again, we'll type UU very fast, and that'll show us everything that we've changed in here. We're going to change the start setting to 85.8. We got to cheat a little bit here with this to make sure it fills the entire circle up. And we're going to set the offset to 50.4 degrees. 50.4. And hit the Enter key. And I forgot to change the color. So let's go change the color now. Click on Stroke and the eyedropper, and we'll pick up the red color there and click OK. Now we'll twirl this layer up. Again, we'll press U. And what do you know? We didn't have to press U twice that time. So now we need to animate the three pieces. Right now it's just a static image. Let's select all three of our pie chart layers. So select red 14, then hold Shift and select blue 32, and that'll select all of those layers. Press the U key, the Uber key, to reveal what's animating right now, which is nothing, but we still have keyframes for them. And we're going to jump to the 20 frame mark in the timeline. You can see over here it says 20, over here it says 20. Let's draw a box around all three of these guys. So we've got them all selected, and we're just going to drag them down to the 20 frame mark in the timeline. And now our playhead is still set to 0. And what we're going to do is just click on any one of these numbers and type in 100. And I was hoping it would change all of them, but it didn't. So we're going to have to do them individually. Just click and type. And now we can look at this and see what's happening. It's animating it on. Looks good. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. Now what I want you to do again is draw a box around all of the keyframes. And we're going to add easy ease to these keyframes. If you're on a PC, you can simply type the F9 key. So we're going to go to Keyframe Assistant. We're going to right click, by the way. Let me do that again. We're going to select all the keyframes, right click on any one of the keyframes. We'll go to Keyframe Assistant, choose Easy Ease. This is going to change the motion from linear to Bezier. In layman's terms, that means we're going to add a gas pedal and brakes to the motion here. So if we look at it, we'll see that it kind of starts slow and kind of puts on the brakes to slow to a stop. But we're going to accentuate that motion a little bit. And the way we're going to do that is with the graph editor. So we're going to click on the graph editor. And I want you to make sure that this is set down here at the bottom. The second little icon here, make sure it's set to Edit Speed Graph. If it's not, set it to Edit Speed Graph. Now go ahead and drag a box around the two keyframes that are visible. This is really going to grab all 6 of them. And we'll take this little Bezier handle right here, this little yellow line and dot, and we'll drag the dot over. And you'll notice now that all 3 of these now have a crazy looking little deal here. What's happening is each of these are animating in at a different speed and slowing to a stop. The reason is this one's got a long ways to go. This one, not so much. This one, even less. So you can see how the graph changes for each one of those. We'll go ahead and click away from the graph editor because we don't need to see that scary thing anymore. And let's see how it looks. So it just kind of zips on and then slows to a stop. Nice. Now what we're going to do is just stagger the animation so these things are happening at different times. So we're going to click. If you see gray on your screen, you can click in the gray to deselect. If not, you can choose Edit, Deselect All, or you can use Control or Command Shift A. But if you got gray, go ahead and click in the gray. That's the easiest way, I think. Now, we'll take the second one in the stack and we're going to move him down so he starts at the same time the first one is ending. And we'll do the same thing for the one that's above it. Now, here's the caution. Don't grab the edge of the clip. If you grab the edge of the clip, you're just shortening the clip, okay? We need to grab the whole thing and move it down. And you'll know this if you see the keyframes go with you, right? And let's preview that. Okay, there we go. Now we got something going on. So let's go ahead and select all three of those, press the U key to Uber them up, and we're done with those for now. Now we need to move these guys down on the screen a little bit to make room for a title up above. So all you need to do is hold the Shift key and notice the cursor keys on your keyboard. Hold the Shift key and type the down key 4 times. That's going to move 10 pixels at a time, everything towards the bottom. So we moved 40 pixels. Now let's create some type. First, let's go ahead and deselect these layers. And we'll go up here and choose the type tool. And we'll choose a font. I'm going to use Myriad Pro Regular. Let's set the size to 100 and we'll set the color to black. Good enough. And we'll come out here to the side of the blue pie piece and we'll click out here and we'll type in 32%. 32%. Good enough. Now let's drag that guy into position. Go up here and grab your selection tool and let's just move it over again using the cursor keys. You can use the Shift key if you want to move it 10 pixels at a time, or you can use no Shift key and move it 1 pixel at a time. That's pretty close. Let's get the type tool again. We'll select on the other side, sort of down at the bottom a little bit, and we'll type 54%. And that one's in the wrong place for me. So again, grab the move tool, move it over till you like the position. Kind of like it a little lower. And I'm kind of trying to keep the pad space in here the same. One more time, we'll go ahead and get the type tool and we'll place the cursor up here and we'll type in, how much was it? 14%, 14%. And again, we'll nudge it into place. These are the nudge keys, by the way, if you go looking at the Adobe literature. Let's see how close we are. Well, maybe a little closer. So what we need to do now is animate transparency for each of these layers. We can do them all at the same time. So let's go ahead and select our 3 text layers and press T for transparency. We're going to jump to the 20 frame mark in the timeline and we're going to set a keyframe for opacity. If you click 1, it sets a keyframe for all of the layers. Now we'll back up to the 10 frame mark and we'll set opacity to 0. Now we've got these all animating at the same time, in the same place. All we need to do now is to line them up. So here's the way we're going to do this. We're going to deselect, Control or Command Shift A to deselect. We're run out of gray space, so we can't use that trick anymore. In fact, you know what? I should have Ubered these up. So I'm going to select them again, press the U key. Now we do actually have some gray space to click on down there. So let's go ahead and pair up each of these layers with their associated pie piece. So we'll drag 14%. Actually, let's do 32% down just above blue 32 and 54% just above yellow 54%. And now they are aligned with each other. It's going to make it easier for us. So now all you got to do is grab the 14% layer and drag it over the same way you did before so it lines up with the other layer. Same thing for the 54% layer. And now I think we should see that it works really nicely. Just as they animate on, we see them. Now we really need to put a headline in here and give these statistics some sort of meaning, but you're in a hurry, and so I'll let you do that on your own. What I want you to do next is go and click on the lock for the background layer to unlock it, and we're going to add an effect. So go over here to Effects and Presets. It takes a second to load, and once it does, type in Gradient Ramp into the search bar. Grab gradient ramp and put it over the top of the background layer. Okay. Now we're going to make some changes here. We're going to change linear ramp to radial. We're going to swap colors. And now we're going to change the start of ramp location. So that's the little target icon right here. So we'll click on that little target and we'll put it right in the middle of the circle. And let's change the end color to, let's say, 70% brightness. 70. Something like that. And now we'll change the end of ramp position to be something over towards the edge of the screen over here. Doesn't have to be exact. And you can play with this if you want. You can move it around and get whatever results you want. That seemed about right to me. Something subtle. All of these infographics have subtle things about them. If it's anything other than a solid color, like a shadow or a gradient, be sure to make it subtle. Almost done now. We're just going to make a little 3D animation out of this. So I want you to go to Layer, New Camera. And let's make sure this is a 2-node camera. And our preset should be set to 50 millimeter. 50 millimeter. Click OK. And now we're going to click the 3D button for each of our pie chart layers. And the 3D button is right here. It looks like a little cube, I guess. And if you can't see that, it's this first little icon down here in the very left corner of the screen. Now we'll do the same for the yellow layer. Just make sure and be careful here because the only things that we want animating in 3D is the pie chart and not the text in this case. Now the camera ended up down here at the bottom. I like to have the camera at the very top. I don't know why, it's just me, but that seems like a better place for it. Now come over into the screen, into the comp window, and I want you to press the C key a couple of times until you see the camera icon. And just grab that guy and you can kind of move him around a little bit. You're not moving the pie chart, you're moving the camera, actually. So that looks like about the right position, I'm thinking. Now let's go to the beginning of the timeline and we'll set a keyframe for position. So type P for position, set a keyframe. Let's move to the 2-second mark where all of the animation completes, and we'll just drag this guy to a more flat kind of a look. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat. Now let's go ahead and easy ease. So we're going to draw a box around these, or I'll show you even a better shortcut. I'm going to click away. To select all of the keyframes for a particular thing that you're animating, just click on the word for it. So here's position. We'll just click on position. And again, we'll right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. That's it, folks. Let's preview it. Nice. Okay, that's it. It's pretty easy. I think you'll agree. Good luck. Have fun with this. And again, if you want to try something different, like is in the tutorials on YouTube, you're welcome to do so. Some of these guys, TipTut in particular, has some of these infographics that have extruded shapes in them, and those are pretty cool. But not everybody's computer is going to be able to do those. We don't all have the right video card to do this extrusion, and it's pretty buggy anyway, so let's just steer away from that. But yeah, do whatever you want. Do a graph, do a bar chart, Just have a good time with it. Um, and if you want to do something that's sort of kooky, like one of these silly ones here, I'm all right with it. If you want to do something that has a more corporate feel, it's whatever you think. Remember that these projects are going to go in your reel, so I suggest you do something that you're going to be proud of and you're going to want to show off. Okay, good luck. Have fun. Let me know if you have questions.